If you've ever fought yellowing leaves, poor yields, or plants that just don't seem to thrive no matter what you feed them, you might be overlooking one of the most misunderstood aspects of soil health: pH balance. The truth is, pH isn't just a number on a test strip. It's the invisible gatekeeper that determines whether your plants can actually absorb the nutrients you're giving them. And here's where it gets fascinating. There's a natural, low-cost and self-regulating solution to the pH problem hiding right in your compost bin. Worm castings. What I like to call the pH worm loophole. Once you understand how this biological hack works, you'll never look at fertilizers or soil amendments the same way again. Your soil's pH determines how well your plants eat. Before diving into worms, let's talk about pH in plain terms. Soil pH is a measure of how acidic or alkaline your soil is, running on a scale from 0 to 14. Most garden vegetables prefer a slightly acidic to neutral range, between 6.0 and 7.0. Now, the challenge is that once soil becomes too acidic, or, too alkaline, essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium become chemically locked up, which basically means plants just can't access them even if those nutrients are actually present. This is why sometimes a garden can look absolutely starved despite being heavily fertilized. Over time, things like chemical fertilizers, heavy rains, and, poor composting can all throw pH out of balance. And that's where, interestingly enough, the worm loophole comes in. Worm castings, those rich, crumbly droppings produced by composting worms, are in fact nature's way of correcting imbalances in soil chemistry. Unlike lime, sulfur, or synthetic conditioners that, swing your pH one way or another, worm castings operate biologically. They contain humic and fulvic acids, which buffer soil pH, gently pulling it toward neutrality. In other words, if your soil is too acidic, castings will raise it slightly, but if it's too alkaline, they'll bring it down. That's the loophole. Worm castings create a self-regulating system that keeps your soil right in the sweet spot for plant growth. The fascinating world of microbial activity. The process works through these tiny yet powerful microbes. Worm castings are loaded with beneficial bacteria and enzymes that continually break down organic matter, releasing nutrients at a rate plants can handle. This keeps the nutrient flow steady and balanced, preventing sudden spikes or crashes that can disrupt pH. Quite remarkable, isn't it? You can think of worm castings as a biological thermostat for your soil, constantly fine-tuning conditions to keep everything in equilibrium. To take full advantage of this pH balancing power, it's important to know how to apply worm castings effectively. For general soil conditioning, mix about 1 part worm castings to 4 parts soil when preparing a new bed. This ratio works well for most vegetables, herbs and fruiting plants. It's a simple yet effective way to nurture your garden. Now, when it comes to container gardens, worm castings are even more critical because pots tend to acidify faster due to watering frequency. Blend 20% castings into your potting mix by volume and top dress every 3 to 4 weeks with a thin layer. Each watering will leach beneficial microbes and organic acids deeper into the soil, maintaining stability and nutrient flow. It's like giving your plants a little boost with every watering. You know, the key is consistency. Small, regular applications are far more effective than large, infrequent ones. Here's what makes the pH worm loophole so unique. It's not just the castings themselves, but the living system that produces them. You can even harness this system directly in your garden by installing a worm trench. Just dig a shallow trench along one side of your garden bed and fill it with alternating layers of kitchen scraps, shredded paper and a handful of soil. Then add red wigglers, Eisenia fetida, and cover lightly with mulch. Over the growing season, the worms will work through the trench, depositing castings that gradually migrate into your bed, distributing pH-stabilizing microbes as they go. It's a self-maintaining cycle that turns food waste into soil perfection. Worm tea delivers fast-acting pH correction for stressed plants. Sometimes your plants just can't wait for the slow release of nutrients from solid castings. In those cases, worm casting tea is, well, your go-to solution. To make it, simply mix 1 cup of worm castings with 1 gallon of non-chlorinated water and let it steep for 24 hours, giving it a stir every so often. After that, strain it and use the liquid as a foliar spray or a soil drench. This microbial-rich tea not only boosts nutrient uptake, but also immediately begins to neutralize excess acidity or alkalinity in the root zone. The humic acids in the tea act as a natural chelator, freeing up those locked nutrients and allowing plants to absorb them again. Quite often you'll notice greener leaves and stronger growth within just a few days of application. For severe imbalances, go ahead and use worm tea every 7 to 10 days until your plants start to show recovery. Once balance returns, switch to a maintenance schedule of once every 3 weeks. And because it's completely organic, there's really no risk of overuse or nutrient burn, a luxury you just don't get with chemical fertilizers. When soil pH is stable and balanced, everything else falls into place. The microbial community thrives, root growth deepens, and plants develop stronger immune responses. Many common garden problems, like fungal infections, aphid infestations, and nutrient deficiencies, start with poor soil chemistry. Worm castings close that loop by creating conditions where beneficial organisms outcompete the harmful ones. It's a natural defense system that doesn't rely on sprays or external inputs. By maintaining a worm-based system, you're not just correcting pH. You're creating a living ecosystem that maintains itself season after season. This means fewer interventions, better water efficiency, and stronger plants that can handle environmental stress. In a world where fertilizers get more expensive and soil depletion becomes more common, the pH worm loophole is the closest thing to permanent soil insurance. It's affordable, renewable, and backed by natural biology that never stops working for you. Once established, a single worm bin can supply enough castings to feed your entire garden indefinitely, keeping both nutrients and pH in perfect balance. If your garden isn't performing the way it should, stop chasing chemical fixes and start working with the soil's natural intelligence. The worms already know how to solve the problem. You just need to give them the job. If this guide helped you understand the real power of worm castings, make sure to subscribe to Gentle Herb Living and share this with your fellow gardeners. Because soil health isn't just science, it's survival, and it starts with the humble worm.